What is the source of the I am not good enough feeling among us women? Experts, women, talk a lot about it, and they seem not to agree. It is the system, it's the patriarchy, it is our mother, it is culture. Everybody has an explanation and everybody has an opinion. And in the meantime, things don't change. I have an 8-year-old daughter, and still she tells me things about her own feelings and that of her classmates. And it seems that the story keeps repeating itself, generation after generation after generation. I have a theory that I have been testing for quite some years. And this is changing my life and that of many other women around me. And I cannot wait to touch more women with this idea. Today, I want to share with you, where is this I am not good enough feeling coming from? And most importantly, what to do about it. Are you ready? Hi, I'm Blanca Vergara, and I'm a woman on a mission. I want to accelerate the emergence of the heart-centered economy. What is that? An economy that takes into consideration the heart. And what is in the heart? The most important filter towards decision making: compassion. When we use compassion to filter our decisions, our business decisions, we will have powerful agents of change as companies. And who is going to be doing that? Who is more powerful to be doing that? Women. And that's the reason why today I'm going to be talking about why we women still feel not really good enough. And really, no matter how high we go in the pyramid of achievement, I have customers with PhDs, MBAs, polyglots, and still they tell me, Blanca, I'm not good enough. I'm on to get another certification. I'm on to learn another language. Like there is never enough. And they don't authorize themselves to write their book or to raise their prices. Why do we do that? So I'm going to be talking about the elephant in the room. That one thing that we don't dare to talk about. It is very easy for us to say what's wrong somewhere else. But today I'm going to invite you to act differently. I want you to listen to this video with complete different ears. I want to invite you to open your ears from the perspective of being in the driver's seat of your life. If you still feel not good enough in some sense, financially, business-wise, in your own body, in your relationships with others, doesn't matter. We're not going to change it in 1 second. What we're going to change is the attitude between being in the driver's seat or being in blame. Yes, because we can blame everybody. We can blame the system, the patriarchy, your mother, the man, your children. You know, we have loads of people to blame. It's just so easy. We blame them and we're off the hook. Yay, we're the victim. That's horrible. That is horrible to blame others when we can be on the driver's seat of our life. When we get ourselves in our driver's seat, then the conversation changes completely. So if you're still angry at the patriarchy, if you think that protesting is the way forward, this video is not for you. This video is for women who want to take the driver's seat of their lives and who are willing to be so courageous to look on the face this horrible monster that is that I'm not good enough feeling. We're going to be talking about that. It is scary. So if you're in blame, have a nice day. Goodbye. So I'm assuming that you are into empowerment. Welcome. Because we're going to be talking about something quite horrific. We are going to be talking about something that I call the ancestral female trauma. Yes, I'm talking about our very own glass ceiling that is unconscious and it is inherited. Yes, I got it from my mom got it from her mom, and so on and so forth in the past. And you know what is so awesome about having this conversation is that as you heal your own wounds, your daughter will be healed, and her daughter as well, and her daughter as well. And everybody around them is not just a subject of women, but it's a subject of families. It's a subject of societies. It has a gigantic impact for each one of us to look at ourselves in the mirror and see where those patterns of self-sabotage are coming from. So I want to talk about the three main sources where this ancestral female trauma is coming from. The first one and the most obvious is nurture, i.e., your mother, your father, your culture, your religion, your country. So environment. Wherever you were brought up is what will determine your behavior and your destiny. So what mom said, with all her limitations, and even we're talking about a very healthy mom, not a mom that was, depressed or had any mental health. She was carrying her own inadequacies, her own frustrations. And that is passed to you as, as you would drink warm milk. We just do it unconsciously. I've noticed, I work on this subject myself and I try to be very conscious about it. And I notice how if I get angry, my daughter immediately picks that up. If I'm frustrated about something, my daughter immediately picks it up. Because I am the representation of the feminine for her. It's a huge responsibility. So what about being more conscious about it? I'm not saying that I am going to be all one line artificial perfection, but at least I'm going to be more mindful of how I communicate with her. So the way your mother talked to you, the way your father talked to you, the way your culture talked to you has become your inner voice. My mom passed away 2 years ago, and I can hear myself still thinking, what will my mother say about this? Did I clean good enough? What will my mother say about this dress? Is it adequate enough for that party I'm going? It's like we have internalized that critical mother inside of us. We just keep repeating those patterns. So number one, nurture. Number two source of this ancestral female trauma is nature. What is that? That is our genes. So it's not just your culture and your mom and dad of that moment, but it's 7 generations past. There is research that shows that the DNA is inherited generation to generation. And with that, it comes the trauma inherited. There have been studies of soldiers that they bring the trauma of the war to their children. Think about that with every war comes rape. Think about all the horrors that our mothers, grandmothers suffered. No wonder we feel like knot in our throat, and what that is, they can tell us 2,000 times to lean in, and we will still don't express ourselves. They can tell us 1,000 times to do stuff that terrifies us. Why? Because it's here written in our DNA. It's something much bigger than just reading a book and knowing that women should express themselves. We don't do it because in our own makeup, there is real physical trauma inherited from 7 generations past. Think about it. Here in Europe, I live in the Netherlands. Basically, all the mothers of women my generation all lived the Second World War. I'm Mexican, and connecting to Latin America, our mothers and grandmothers lived all the revolutions. The beginning of the 20th century, it was all the revolutions. Ouch! With all revolutions come aggression towards women and children. It's not pretty. This is the reason why, to survive, we hide. They told me that the story during the revolution, my grandma and her mother had to hide to survive because the women were taken away. Of course, you know what happened with these women. No wonder we hide. Women wonder, why don't I show up in social media? Why don't I do a video? The camera is there in your computer. What is good we don't do it? It's something ancestral. It's something old. It's not you. It is not your fault. And now, and this is the thing that very few people talk about, and this is something that I like to talk about, because this is an understanding that is, it's like we're swimming in this water and we don't realize. 12,000 years ago, 13,000 years ago, reality was not how it is today. It depends which source you look at. About 12,000, 13,000 years ago, there was this big catastrophe. And in this big catastrophe, it served for a big change in consciousness. Before the consciousness was the consciousness of Gaia, the consciousness in which the creation and the creator were one thing. So would you kill yourself? Would you rape yourself? You wouldn't, because you are one thing. You see, I'm Mexican and I'm more Aztec than Mexican. That was the way I was raised. So at that time, there were no doors or private property because it was part of the ownership of Coatlicue. And Coatlicue, Pachamama, Gaia, was the owner of everything. We were part of the creation, and we were part of the creator. Water was for everybody. The mountain was for everybody. And suddenly, this big change, this historical change, what happened? Disaster, deluge, cataclysm. When you look at the geography of Colorado, the north of Africa, or the Himalayas, now they are mountains and deserts, you see that there are fossils of fish. It was sea. Imagine what a catastrophe. In that world of catastrophe, it was necessary to come a hero, a king, a savior. And he came, the king, the man. And this is the consciousness that has been ruling for these 12,000 years. I'm not per se against it. It's part of the evolution of consciousness of humanity. It created hierarchies, order, clear definition of what is inside and outside, in and out, black and white, men and women, good and evil. Everything was separated. And do I have to tell you explicitly that good was male and bad was female? You can see it, can you? Good was to be productive, to win in war. Bad was being receptive and to be at home taking care of the children. Now it is the way it is labeled for women, that to be just a stay-at-home mom, that's bad. To be receiving money from your husband, that's bad. Now we have to be just like men. We have to cut our hair. We have to preferably don't have breasts or don't show them, not a mini skirt. No, don't do that. Don't be feminine. Being feminine, sensual, is prostitution. Being nourishing is being a carpet. Being receptive is being stupid. Everything that is feminine became bad, and everything that has been masculine has become good. It's absolutely madness. It's absolutely madness. Just look at our body. We have two sides of the brain. We have a right hand, left hand, 2 feet. The world is really meant for balance. We need the masculine and the feminine within, both men and women. But we have been suppressing it. For men, we have been suppressing it. For women, we're suffering so much, they are suffering as well. The rate of suicide among men is gigantic. We almost don't talk about it. So we really need to bring back our compassion towards men and towards ourselves, to start rebuilding, not rebuilding, to start creating a brand new consciousness, because this is the time to create a brand new consciousness, a consciousness where there is no separation, but in fact, oneness. Just exactly like you see it in your beautiful body. You have 2 lungs, you have 2 legs, you have 2 eyes. There is a combination of the left and the right. And that's the reason why we have men and women. That is the beautiful conjunction to create more life, to have both. That's why you have day and night. Let us stop glorifying just half of our existence. Let us start loving the other half of our existence. So what I see is that we don't see each other in full light. In these 12,000 years of programming, with all this nature and all this nurture inherited, we have created some kind of filter or blockages that don't allow us to see reality how it is, and don't allow us to others to see us how we are. And that's the reason why we have a kind of dysmorphia of reality, dysmorphia of how magnificent we are and how magnificent is this to be a woman, how magnificent it is to have a breast, to have your period, to have the menopause, to have an orgasm, how magnificent it is to be magnetic and receptive. We don't own our magnificence because we cannot see it. And the way I perceive it is that there are 3 veils of this ancestral female trauma. The first veil is at the level of our sex. The second one at the level of our heart, and the third one at the level of our head. When we're talking about our womb, we don't talk about our womb. And in business, forget about it. We will never talk about menopause. We will never talk about period. We don't talk about desire. So then we clamp ourselves into roles that are a way of hiding our femininity, a way of using our femininity in our own way. It is really, this is where the quote comes perfectly. In the middle of a massacre, there is no decent place to stand. As if this has been for the past 12,000 years, a massacre to be a woman. we have hidden ourselves in several roles. And I'm going to show you the roles, some of the roles that I have found related to these levels of the layers of the ancestral female trauma. And I want you to think about this, how you reflect in each one of these. And be critical about yourself, particularly when you say, oh, that doesn't belong to me. I will never do that. That's just for them. Maybe is that you're denying something. You know, I will not go to your house and tell you this is what you do. But if you realize that that is what you do, you have the chance to modify it. So at the life of the womb, we have two ways of hiding our power, by being the gold digger and asking money just because we are sexy and you just give me money. And this is interesting because it's not just the husband or the lover, but it also could be the corporation that we just go and get. The virgin, shame, need of validation. I am perfect and divine and almost, you know, like a victim. And that way we just stay broke. Then we go to the heart. In the heart, we talk everything about emotions. And then we have basically two ways of presenting ourselves as selfish, the ones that we hoard so much. We have so many pairs of shoes. We have so many dresses. There's so much more and more and more. We just become selfish and manipulative. And the other side is also manipulative, but in a different way, is the, oh, poor girl. And then she just gives away the shop because nobody's going to buy from her. And everybody is first before her. And this victimhood is really quite dangerous, you know, because when you do that, they when they fall into giving to you, you can ask whatever you want. It's really perversions. It's codependency. It's entire subject, you know. This is really like a tiny introduction to these roles. And then at the level of the brain is the she-wolf, the queen, the dictator queen, the bitch. This is a woman who works for herself, doesn't allow cooperation with anybody, sisterhood, to work with other women. What are you talking about? She just can do everything by herself. Or it can be the princess in the tower, the one who's never good enough, the one who's studying, the one, and ends up financially dependent from a corporation as well. So maybe you want to pause the video here and reflect which of these false identities is the one that you mostly use. But and it's very important for your own self-reflection, so that you can start saying, ooh, I do this often, and this is not serving me, and it's not serving women, because he's sending an example to other women because you are being seen. Even if you are not a mom, you are being seen by younger women. You are being seen by other by younger women. Be mindful. You are a role model whether you like it or not. What kind of model do you want to be? So how are you liking the video? I hope you are liking it. So please, thumbs up. When you give it a thumbs up, more women will see this. And we have a chance to reduce this feeling of not good enough. We need more women to support more women. Help me out to expand this information. Help the algorithm. Press like button. It's free. And also, remember that I still need to tell you how to go about this. Okay, so before I tell you how to go about this ancestral female trauma, I want to tell you what not to do, what you should not do. And this is very important because it's just exactly like dieting. If you continue having your hamburger and your drinks with sugar with a little bit of water, your diet is not going to be really good. So if you really want to stop the not good enough feeling, it's more important that you stop doing the 3 things that I'm going to tell you right now. Number 1, and you already guessed it, is blaming. When you are in blame, you lose all your power. When you say, it was my mother, it was my father, it was the neighbor, it was, oh, I hate that woman, oh, she, look, whatever she's doing, oh, she's an idiot. When you're in blame, criticism, when you're in day, you are losing all your power. Remember, when you are pointing out somewhere else, 3 fingers point at you. When you do this, go back to yourself. Go back to yourself and see what you need to be. Put that attention to. The other thing is working really hard. When you're working really hard, when you realize that you're working really hard, that you're not enjoying life, that you're not enjoying the roses, that you are not sleeping, that you are not eating, that you're not going to the toilet, something is wrong. You deserve to go to the toilet. You deserve the flowers. You deserve the food. Stop and take care of yourself. Number 3, just think from the head up, from the neck up. When you are thinking that the only way to be good enough is to work on what you think, you are putting the trauma again, because you are trying to be like a man. Just simplify your thinking from A to B. We are complexity. We are curves. We are much more. And this is what reality, what society, what humanity needs right now. Compassion is complex. Long live chaos. Long live compassion. When you are going too much into the head, get out of the head and connect with your heart. Garden, cook, sleep, get out of your head. That's where you are going to find the answers. Okay, so the awaited process that I want to share with you. The name of the process is Unleashed, because it looks like we are leashed by these thousands of years of programming, by these thoughts that is keeping us small. This process has 4 steps. And let's do it. Okay. The fundamentals of this process. Reality is not how they have been telling us about. It's not just one side. It's not just. Oh. It's not just. Let me see. That's what I wanted. It is not just the blue. It's not just the orange. Reality is more complex than that. It's not just that men are bad and women are the victim, or let's say men are bad, oh, women are bad. No, that's not true. Or men are good and women are good. No, it's not. It's more complex like that. It's a combination of all of the above. And this is, of course, a little model that is very simple to see, but reality is way more complex than that. Reality puts together all kinds of systems together. Reality puts together everything, puts together spirituality, puts together science, puts together history, and what happens here affects there. The butterfly here affects the factory there. Your car here affects the whale there. Everything is connected. And now in the last event of 2020, you have seen it, how everything is connected and everything of it affects everything else. So why am I telling you this? Is that your healing, you're getting out of the I'm not good enough, will have massive ramifications. And what is happening around you or far away from you is going to have ramifications for you. And I say this because it's my perception and my conviction that we are in a major consciousness awakening. And that's why you're listening to this video, because you're awakening to your magnificence. You are way more than this tiny woman sitting on your beautiful chair in your beautiful body. You are this connection to everything that there is. You are this representation of Gaia. You are magnificent. And this is what we need to remember. So this is what I was telling you about, that we have two polarities, the white and the black. The white is the man, the good, the win, the dominance. That is positive. And the black is the women, the evil, the loose, the night, the submission, the passivity. That is just a reduction of reality. And this is the duality that we have been living for 12,000 years. And what we have to, and it's a lie. This is very important that you know it. This is a lie. This is absolutely a lie. The truth is that we are much more than that. We are together unconditional love. We are joy and abundance together. And the masculine and the feminine live within. But what we need to do is to marry that masculine and feminine within. That duality within. Stop being angry with the feminine within. Stop being resentful with the masculine within. When we do that change, everything outside will change radically. The idea is that to get out of the I'm not good enough, you need to change timeline. To change a timeline, you have to understand what is a timeline. You have to understand that even in the same place, in the same city, in the same corner, these two women can coexist and have absolutely complete different realities. The homeless is going to be looking at the rubbish bins, is looking at who is taking her spot, is looking at the tourist if she can steal a wallet. That's her reality. And the woman in the right is looking where she's going to have her champagne lunch, where she's going to have her nails done, where she's going to buy her next dress. What you put attention to changes your reality. And as you pay attention to the things that you want to see in your life, your reality is going to change. When that in mind, when we are going to change our timeline and we are going to let go of this I'm not good enough feeling, we need to pay attention to this process. It's very simple 4-step process, but it takes a lot of courage to do it. Because obviously the first step is conscious awareness. And of course we don't want to be conscious because it is so easy to blame. It's so easy to say that it's their fault. It is so easy to stay in the victim position because this is what we have been used to. And not only so easy, but it's second nature. We cannot even imagine that there could be a world that is different because these unconscious thoughts are coming from so far away. And as our dear Carl Jung says, until we make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life. And it will really look like if it was fate. This is the way it is, this is my life, and that's it. So the first step to make that change of lifeline is to look in the eyes of the monster, to really look at this ancestral female trauma and really observe it, see it, and do not engage. Do not judge. Don't get triggered. Look at the things that are happening and do not get triggered. How can you look at the horrors of humanity, at the horrors of your life and not being triggered? Yeah, this is what the spiritual teachers of all history have told us. This is what many theories of psychology have told us. And you know, it works. This is something that we have been practicing, my customers and I, and their lives and their businesses are changing radically. They have been able to see their own personal story, their customers, their reality, and by looking at the drama directly in the eyes, it loses power. They are no longer the victim. But this is step number one. Step number two is to go ahead and let go of the drama. Let go of the chains. Just exactly like elephants are tied to a pole, first with a big chain and then with the rope. In the process of letting go, the first step is to see the rope. And the second step is to really let go of that chain, to really let go of that concept of you that was so restrictive, to realize that that little definition, that small definition of who you are, is really not who you really are. It's really to make that identity shift of I am magnificent because who I am. This is just a tiny little rope. That is old, 12,000 years is old, but I'm magnificent. And this is a huge transformation. Think about the story of the elephants in Antwerp. It's a horrible story. There's a circus. These elephants were trained to stay, even if they were full-grown elephants, and there was a tiny rope. When there was this fire, they never moved. So this tiny rope has had a lot of power on us, 12,000 years power. But honestly, we're more powerful than the rope. And this is what I come to remind you, that you are more powerful, more magnificent than all the non-supporting beliefs that we can think of. Number three is you have to, okay, now I'm free, and now where do I go? So I have so much energy that where do I go? So it's a matter of rebuilding that identity from the womb, the heart and the mind. What is that? What is that that you are going to do? And what is that from the point of view of the masculine and the feminine? The dark and the night that lives within you. That's the third step. To marry your masculine and feminine within, to rebuild a new you. And number four, you can do all the journaling and the meditation, but if you don't take action in the street, in the business world, it's useless. You really have to do number four, and number four is to do patient practice. Patient practice. Of it comes an announcement of the government that you get really angry about. What are you going to do? There it comes the boyfriend and he tells you something horrible, or your child dares to say no. What are you going to do? How are you going to react in a different way when you are you 2.0? When you are your magnificent you, when you are the goddess you, how are you going to react? What is the answer? Very different than the reaction that you used to have before, the trauma reaction. Now is the goddess reaction. You will really have complete different routines. You will wake up with completely different attitudes. You will exercise in different ways. You could cook in different ways, and slowly, slowly, you will be changing your lifeline. I put these photos because they are, in a way, very similar to women, similar age, beds similar, decoration similar, but the attitude is radically different. And you can see already which woman will go to which direction. So the first example, it was clearly chocolate cake and carrot. And here you have tomato and carrot. So as you work on yourself, you're going to see clearer. Do I do an online product launch? Do I do consulting? Do I do freelancing? Where do I go? What is the path for me? You will become more aware of what is for you and what is not for you. You will be able to take inspired and imperfect action because you will connect with your intuition as you have gone through this process. So the one cause or poor results and feelings, ancestral female trauma, that's what keeps us in the yes, no. The biggest three mistakes, blame, burnout, massive work, stay in our head. The 4 steps framework, awareness, letting go, rebuilding, and embodying. Exciting, huh? I hope so. So, how excited are you about knowing this? I hope you really want to go to the next level in your life and really let go of this tiny little rope for this magnificent elephant that you are. This is the unleashed process. Just think about it. How much is it costing you to stay where you are? Where is it? What's that's costing you? Is it your business? Is it your marriage? Is it the place where you live? Is it your own health? It is time to let go of this idea that you're not good enough because you're magnificent. It is time to let go. And you can just do this in sisterhood. You can just do this with other women. Because of that, I created an event for women. And guess what? It's free. That is called the I'm Enough Already retreat. It's 3 days, 24th, 25th, 26th of March 2021. And you can get your hands on a seat in this URL. I really hope to see you there. I really hope to see you there. Have a wonderful day.